It was great joining today. I hope everybody can hear me clearly. Can please someone confirm? Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so I believe we all can see the screen as well, isn't it? Thank you very much. So here we have the session ready now. So a very warm welcome, everyone. Let me do a small introduction from my side as well. I'm Shruti Gupta. I have been taking trainings in ethical hacking in cybersecurity for more than 5 years now. I have been working in cybersecurity for more than 7 years, and I have had the opportunity to work with some of the wonderful companies like Defense Research and Development Organization of India, Indian Meteorological Department, Going Solutions, and so on. I hold multiple certifications in this industry, including certified ethical hacking from EC Council, certified encryption specialist, penetration testing, forensic investigation, incident handling, and so on. I also hold certain certifications from other industry standards, I have CSSP, Certified Information System Security Professional from ISC Square, Certified Risk and Information System Control from ISACA, Certified Information Security Manager from ISACA, and so on. So I hold multiple certifications in this field. Well, this is about me. So today I'm here to have some discussion on ethical hacking, which is typically a bit more offensive in nature. But today, taking care of the amazing audience that we have, we are going to focus on the defensive point and discuss a bit on that. I believe you all will have a lot of questions on that. So anytime you have any questions, I am keeping the chat window here open. So I'll take the chat window. Somehow the Q&A, I believe, will not be able to put there. So what we can go and do is after every small while, I'll just have a look at the Q&A after every certain topic I finish. Chats I can see side by side also. And I'll have a look at that. So any inputs you want to give, any particular thing you want to add to it, please put it on the chat. And after every topic I finish, kind of, I'll have a look at the Q&A window also and answer any questions that are there. So let's get ahead and get started. So ethical hacking. So ethical hacking, or just simply hacking, if I say, always very exciting to us, right? But when we talk about ethical hacking, the first thing that comes into picture is the field from which it belongs to. So the field which it belongs to is typically cybersecurity. So we'll go towards ethical hacking also. Let's have a small look at the idea that what exactly is cybersecurity first. Now, any of you, when I talk about security, might consider that we are trying to protect things. We're trying to protect things that are important to us. So in companies, we typically talk about that any particular system, any particular information, any particular, let's say, technology, any particular people, all kinds of resources that we are trying to secure are called as assets. And we talk about information as being one of the most important assets, and we want to secure that. So when I want to secure this information and assets, what kind of things I'm trying to protect it from? What do you think? Anybody would like to try? What do you think? What are we trying to protect our particular information from? Personal information, your data. So what could happen to your data? From getting stolen, yes, wonderful. From cyber attacks, okay. From corruption, from misuse, wonderful. From commitment of frauds, financial issues, phishing, wow, great. Company international protection, identity theft, somebody can do data theft, stalking, blackmailing, wonderful, absolutely true. Metasploit framework could be a tool which could be used to perform these attacks, great. Ransom can be asked for that. DDoS is also an attack that can happen, which can take away our access. Criminal usage, illegal hacking, yes, that is true, that is possible. Blackmail, breaches, privacy, fraud, threat. Threat is typically which will cause that problem. Yeah. MITM, money issues, cyberbullying, virus, corruption, wonderful inputs I'm getting. Backdoor attacks, stolen money, yes. Harassment, yes, that can be also used for that. Bank transactions in illegal ways, yes, that is absolutely possible. Virus attacks, yes. Ransom attacks, absolutely possible. Anything else? Crashing of PC, yes. Spamming, breaking, identity theft, fraud, wonderful. Military computer, national defense, yes. Bank account, crashing of server, malwares, illegal access, spyware, yes, very correct. Malware, yes. So I can see social accounts, I believe being hacked is referring to shut down online business, that would be there. Tech protect, sensitive data can be stolen and misused. Yes, that is true, that is possible. So I guess I think you've got a lot of different inputs here. And more or less, if I kind of categorize this input, so I can say that we are trying to make sure that no illegal entity, no unauthorized person, at least I can see brute force attack, somebody can hack Gmail attack. Yes, it is possible. So anybody, anything can be attacked. First of all, let me tell you, everyone, anything can be attacked. It could be difficult, it could be easy, but everything can be attacked. It just is like who is more intelligent, kind of. Right. So it can be done using phishing, using social engineering attacks. Wonderful. So I can see we have a lot more aware audience here. So we know that there are so many different kinds of issues that can happen. And when we talk about these attacks, more or less, we are trying to stop any unauthorized personnel, any illegal entity from accessing our resource. So we call it in a more refined manner that we are trying to reduce any unauthorized disclosure of information. Absolutely, Ayush, I can surely explain. During our session, you'll come across a lot of them. If still something is left unexplained, please do let me know at there. Okay. All right. So we talk about that any unauthorized personnel could come across this information and we don't want them to access. And that is typically when I want to reduce that, confidentiality is the key goal that can help me with that. Confidentiality means that we are trying to secure our information from any unauthorized access. You'll find there are multiple ways to do that. I can put like passwords that we use. Passwords are there to do that. Biometric systems that we're using are there to do that. Pattern logs that you get, OTPs that we use, or something called as encryption. I'm not sure how many of you are aware. Something called as encryption we use. A simple example could be every time you have that green lock on your website, that is showing that you're using encryption. Right. So these are all ways to deal or secure your data from unauthorized disclosure, and that is typically confidentiality they provide. Another thing that you can find, somebody said MD5 SSH encryption, though we'll not go in a lot of more detail into it, but just so you know, Sparsh, MD5 and SHA are something called as hashing techniques, not encryption techniques. Okay, DES, AES, those are called as encryption techniques. Okay, you can surely go ahead and explore that one. It's really a very interesting reference called as cryptography. You'll find the field of cryptography includes all those concepts. Okay. Now, when we talk about integrity, the second thing that you'll come across somewhere on the other, all the answers we found, that we don't want an unauthorized person to be able to make any changes to my data. And I also do not want an authorized personnel to be able to make any unwanted changes in the data. So to sum up, I want my data to be consistent and there should be no unauthorized modifications into it. So that is where integrity comes into picture. So integrity is another reference which will try to reduce any possibility, which will try to ensure that there is no changes in the data without proper confirmation, without proper authorization. That becomes the second very important element. Yes, sure, I'll repeat integrity. So integrity is simply the idea that my information should not be modified by any unauthorized personnel or in any unauthorized way. Okay, that is typically what we call as integrity. Availability is, now somebody said DDoS, somebody said that typically, we could not have access to information. Somebody said that we are trying to make sure that identity fraud should not happen. So these all issues could have one parameter of excess of information also. Okay, so if you're not able to access that information, if you're not able to uh, be able to use the resource that we should be able to, then again, that is a problem for us. That is typically where we need availability. Availability will ensure that the information, the asset is accessible to all the required people. You will find almost all attacks can be held into these three major categories, and thus confidentiality, integrity, and availability becomes the three core elements that we talk about in information security. Any hack you go for, any field of security you go for, these three will form the basis of the decisions you take, of the controls you put in, and of the attacks you also do. Right. So this forms the base of security. Yes, the pillars of cybersecurity, the key elements of cybersecurity, the key goals of cybersecurity. Okay. I can see a lot of questions regarding what is penetration testing, regarding what are the key skills of a hacker. Please put them aside. We will going to discuss all of this throughout the slides. And if still your particular questions are not answered, I'll surely answer at the end. Okay. So for now, I'll take only the relevant ones and the others we'll keep for later on. So here we can see these are the three goals of cybersecurity. Now, when I come to cybersecurity, there are a lot of different kinds of options, there are different kinds of fields within it. Like the certifications I was talking about are almost those kinds of fields. Like when we talk about ethical hacking, that is one field. We talk about incident handling, that is one field. We talk about forensic investigation, that is one field. We talk about, for example, management, security management, that is one field. We talk about auditing, that is one field. So, in that case, we have to make sure that we look across and we identify that which we want to go. Today, we are focusing on hacking. So, this is about it. This is the major idea of cybersecurity. Thank you very much, Porish and Shweta and everyone. Okay, Shweta is saying clear but low. Please try to increase the volume at your side, Shweta. Okay, so now I talk about ethical hacking more. So, ethical hacking, let's leave out ethical for a moment and let's talk about hacking. Now, what all of you think? What is hacking? What do you think? What comes in your mind when I say hacking? No worries, Mr. Harshit. Very well, I'm trying. Are you say stealing data? Okay, wow, a lot of messages went right away. Cool code seen in movies. Okay. Accessing the device. I'm going to break that web up very soon. Just you'll see here. Okay. Harshit says accessing the device. Salish says getting into a computer without permission. Vasan says breaching into other data information. Okay. Sanjay says breaking. No. Sanjay says stealing someone belongings. Sanat says breaking in security. Oh, wow, a lot of answers are coming up. 47 more messages. Let me see. So try to steal data on purpose, coding, bug bounting, trying to making and providing solution, stealing data, Chicago blackout, accessing camera, breach, stealing information from another, entering in someone's data without their permission, accessing without permission, stealing someone's data, they're geniuses to enter into another system, changing someone's, I believe he's writing password, changing program, getting into systems, getting into different computers, getting into without knowledge, logging into another system without permission, unauthorized entry, taking resource without permission. A lot of such answers are coming up. Going in someone's database and accessing his resource, blackmail, access without permission, stealing for wrong purposes, spoiling someone's data, okay, trying to access data resource, honeypot, exploit computer system, uploading data into someone else's system, okay, important files, unauthorized access, phishing, violating data, attempt to exploit a computer system or a private system, okay, exploiting weakness very well, using nmap, okay, nmap is a very good tool, surely, stealing military data and selling it to other countries, okay, that is one form, using nmap to find vulnerabilities and exploiting by metasploit framework, that is a method to do, yes, unauthorized attempts to again authorize access to systems, Aadhaar card, yeah, that was being attacked, unauthorized access, changing programs, hacking Zoom. Yes, that's true. That has happened. Brute force DOS attack, SQL map for DB breach, database breach, keylogger, stealing data, Pegasus, misuse of devices. Yes, all of these are examples. Wonderful. SQL injection, stealing companies, stealing bank details, all good. Evil twin attacks, Kali Linux is an operating system which can help us with that. That's also true. Haste, open source data, right? Yes. Waterhole attack, yes, absolutely. WannaCry, Beef is an exploitation framework. WannaCry was an incident, yes. Bringing servers down, yes. Fake WAP, yes. For ParrotOS is an operating system which can be used to perform all these attacks. Okay, exploiting someone's data confidentiality, yes. So basically, I saw a lot of example, a lot of inputs, and still they are coming up. What is better? We'll discuss all of that. A lot of coming up here. Attack on National Bank in Bangladesh, social engineering, links for phishing. I think it's writing phishing. Yeah. Okay. So yes, I think I've got lots and lots of enough replies. Now, what you all are saying is correct in certain way or another. But if you think about it, when this term was introduced, when hacking was introduced for the first time, hacking meant, listen to this carefully, using something for an unauthorized purpose, or rather, I should say, using something for an extraordinary purpose, which was not its initial intention of use. What I mean by that, you might have heard of these kind of things, life hacks, travel hacks, beauty hacks. Don't we hear all these things? What are those? Are they always wrong things? Not really. These are what? Tips and tricks which are using things which was not supposed to be used that way ideally. You're using them in a different manner. Okay. I had a bottle of Coke. I wanted something there. I used it for putting out, let's say, some water, normal water instead of Coke. That is also a small hack. Some days ago, one person, somebody's fridge was not working. He wanted to chill his Coke bottle. He put it with a makeshift, these handles, and he put it in front of the air conditioner. It got cold. That is also hacking, right? So hacking are simply tips and tricks which where we are using normal things in an intelligent way, in a different way, in a not so easily thought of ways. Okay. Now, what happens when we try to misuse it, when we are trying to do the same thing with a wrong intention? That is where hacking started becoming negative. What I want to focus here is hacking in itself is not a negative term. It is a neutral term. It could lead to positive results also, like we do in those tips and tricks, or it could lead to negative results also. Today, what has happened? Today, since cybercrime has increased, like a lot of you were also giving me so many examples, like WannaCry and other attacks. You were giving me so many examples that are there, which are clearly showing that there's so much attack. If you see the last couple of years with this coronavirus coming up, we have so many such issues, so many such problems, even more than ever before. Every other day you will find a ransomware attack happening. Every other day you'll find some companies data being disclosed. Google Chrome has undergone so much attacks these days. Airtel data has been breached. Garmin, the smartwatch company's data has been breached. Somewhere there have been news regarding all these major giants like Paytm, like Big Basket, like all this Amazon. Every company somewhere or the other has come across this. Yes, I'm getting a lot of extra inputs also, and all are correct. So, what I'm trying to show here is over the years, cybercrime has increased so much. That is why hacking has taken this negative meaning. Okay. And that is why now what you all were saying is correct, that nowadays people are coming across mostly, like Mr. Robot also shows. So, like we come across all of these details where we look at the negative aspect of hacking. But actually, hacking in itself was not really negative. This increasing cybercrime has made it negative. Now, that is where enters ethical hacking. Ethical hacking is that perspective of hacking where I'm utilizing hacking in order to identify what problems, what issues are present in my network, in my system, in my company, so that I can identify them, deal with them, and quickly be able to handle them before the attacker can do so. Right. That is what we call as ethical hacking. Their ethics play a very important role because we're not supposed to misuse the information. You're supposed to utilize this information. Right. So you'll find there's so many different ways, so many different fields within it also. Like here, some of them we have mentioned. You can see web application hacking. So web application are basically, a simple example could be like the sites through which you access different companies. So you're trying to use that to hack them, or I mean not you, just hacker may try to use them to hack them. So web application hacking will help me identify that what all issues are there and we can deal with them. Then we have system hacking. System hacking is where a particular system may have multiple vulnerabilities, like operating system, like ransomware typically was like a system hacking. The WannaCry attack that you were talking about, some of you mentioned multiple times earlier. Why? Because it was taking advantage of an unpatched system, Windows system. Right, web server hacking, where the server itself could be hacked, wireless networks could be hacked, a lot of different kind of targets could be hacked. Nowadays, we have cloud hacking, we have IoT hacking, we have OT hacking. OT is operational devices we talk about, and we have social engineering. Some of you were mentioning this term also earlier, and I think some of you were asking what exactly it means. So, social engineering is a very, very commonly used, very, very highly referred attack. Yes, Intel Spectrum Radom is also common attack. So social engineering is a kind of attack where we are taking advantage of people as a target, right? Where people's mindset, people's good nature, helping nature, greedy nature, fearful nature, these are being taken advantage of. Okay, and this is one of the most highly used attacks. You'll find 99% of the attacks this is being utilized in some way or another. That is why I consider to be like a separate field nowadays, and we're talking about how people being the most common reference to be attacked. Yes, emotional blackmail is also a kind of example of social engineering. There are a lot of examples. Simply you opened the door and went in, and I was not allowed to go into the door. I used the open door to go in. That is also social engineering. You were talking to your friend, I was sitting there and listening to you. That is also social engineering. You were typing in your password, I looked into it. What are you typing? That is also social engineering. Right. Yes, all different kinds that could be there. Now, going further into it, this now, right now, I don't know, some of you may be looking out for your colleges. Most of you might, I'm guessing, might not be working somewhere. So, how does this connect with you? Let's have a look. So, we start with some examples. So, have you ever come across a mail like this? Anyone? Something similar to this, where they are giving you that we need your help, you have an issue with your account, and you come across. Yeah, some of you are saying no, so many of you are saying yes, we have come across. Some says parents have got. Okay, very well. Wow, a lot of them are very lucky. We have not got any time such a mail. That's amazing. Let's check some more example then. Do you think this kind of a mail maybe you have got sometime, where some kind of invoice is there, though this is a bit more formal? Or maybe something similar. Never. Some said yes, some said no, some said yes. Okay, I can see a lot of mixed replies, though no's have reduced a bit somehow. Okay, now it has increased. Now yes are there. Okay, let's try some more. Have you found out something like this? Some kind of pop-up like this ever? Anybody? Yes. Okay. Still, there are very few no's, but most of the people are saying yes, 100 times, 1,000 times, how many times, I don't know. Yes. Okay, when you open Chrome, yes, yes, yes. I think this is maximum people are saying yes somehow to this. Every day, most of the time, yes, we've all got this, right? Okay, or maybe those who are still saying no, maybe some messages like this, right? Yes, I can see a lot of yes again, right? Absolutely. So I see that now it's all yes mostly, right? Or maybe some kind of call like this. Yes, that I have want to give certain information, or maybe some parents of you may have got such a call. Yes, somebody you know may have got. Yeah, I can see a lot of yes. So I think most of us have got somewhere or the other something like this, like call or a message or a pop-up or a mail, something like this. Yes, isn't it? I can see all yes now. So that means you have been a target. That means you have, yes, KBC call. Right. So that means you have been a target. You have all been, and you can see we have almost all years now. So you have all been a target at one point of time. And these were those cases which you may have been able to identify. There could have been some cases you have not been able to identify. Yes, I can understand. A lot of us are getting calls daily. That's true. Absolutely. You have won 1 lakh rupees. You have won a trip to some place. I don't know, whatever they want. Yes, you should block them. You should report them and you should block them. That's true. Right. What you can do is you have to report. There is an option of report phishing, report spam, block. Use that option. Let them know that this is wrong. Never reply to such mails. It is never a good idea, whether you get it through WhatsApp, whether you get it through Viber, whether you get to any chat, any SMS, any mail, any call. And you'll find a lot of time these people try to create a sense of urgency that, if you don't do it quickly, your admission will not happen, or if you don't do it quickly, your account will get blocked, or your phone number will get blocked, or we will you will not get that prize anymore. The moment they are creating urgency, maximum cases is going to be bad. And trust me, there is nothing free in this world. If you're getting something very good free, most likely it is a scam. Okay, so don't go with that. Right. See, you may use your card. If they're misusing your card, a lot of time, a lot of time people what they do, these RBI is sending messages, don't share our OTPs. So recently I come across some people, some long relative of mine. They called me up for some help advice. They had got some money stolen. So what I identified, they had not shared their OTP with the particular scam person, but they had clicked the picture of their credit card and shared that with him. So not a great idea. You understand? Just not OPTP. Nothing is to be shared. All information is private. You can be very, very careful. Yes, I know what that's the way they happened. Because they were very normal people. They did not know about IT. They thought OTP is not supposed to be shared, so they did not show, but they shared the photo. They did not know that. They are normal people. Right. See, number finding is not a difficult task. You can just easily get it from anywhere. Or they may have put on random, they may not even know about it. They're very good with their people skills already for this. Okay, so we all have been a target. Now, if I show you some global statistic, see, these are the global statistic for cybersecurity damage by 2021. So you can see 16.4 billion per day, $684.9 million per hour, $11 million per minute, and 190,000 million $1,000 per second. This much damage is happening, and this is what we know about. You will find a lot of companies due to reputation issue or due to XYZ reason may not always disclose, or due to requirements. Sometimes you don't need to disclose depending on the kind of case. So they may not have even disclosed it. Some smaller issues may are not even disclosed. And think about the damage that we can see. So you can see how much requirement there is in this industry, how much importance there is, because the damage is so high. Right. Yes, dark web can also be used, but without dark web, also so many things can be done. Yes. So it just, there are, I will say, millions of ways that this can be done, and that is why it becomes even more difficult. Yes. Now, what do we do? So, where does ethical hacking stand into? Ethical hacking stand because to beat a hacker, you need to think like one. So here we talk about that what we are doing. It's like, if I want to catch the thief, I need to think like a thief. What will the thief do? Same. So if I want to beat the hacker, I'm trying to think like a hacker and identify all those issues, identify all those problems, identify all those points, and thus try to deal with that beforehand. Right. Now, we talk about hacker. Yes, that's a code of EC Council also, because we all believe in this. Right. So now when we talk about this, we say, yes, we need to catch a thief, we need to think like one. So we say, what kind of hackers do we have? Right. So hacker typically is an extremely intelligent person. Okay, now if I talk about an ideal hacker, right? Remember, nothing is ideal in this world. But if I talk about ideal hacker, an ideal hacker is the one which knows everything, which knows all about networking, hardware, software, which knows all about coding, which knows all about all platforms, which knows everything, right? So it knows all about these details. Now, when we talk about this particular hacker, as I said, he's an ideal person. In reality, we do want such kind of a, what an Indian language we call a technical guru, right? But we do not want that we go for let's say everything. Not want, rather we may want, but we cannot. We are humans. We cannot know everything. So what do we say? A true real-time hacker is typically the one who is who has a lot of knowledge and who's continuously trying to add on to it. And whenever he come across a new technology or a new kind of system, he is a very quick learner and ready to learn very quickly. So as ethical hackers or general hackers also, typically we are ethical hackers. So as ethical hackers, we have to be very patient, first of all, because in films it looks very easy. You put four lines and it is done. In reality, it's not that easy. In reality, it takes months and years also sometimes. Okay, so in reality, it takes a lot more time than it looks into the films. But yes, we take more time into it. We have to be patient and we have to be quick learners to be able to work with it. Okay, that is typically how a hacker should be. Now, a hacker with a lot of knowledge could also be of different categories. So we could have white hat hacker, black hat hacker, and gray hat hacker. Black hat hacker is typically the attacker, the cracker, we call it, who is performing all these techniques with a bad intention in mind, with an offensive intention in mind, with some wrong purpose in mind. He doesn't have a very nice purpose. He maybe want to steal some money or want some information or get some secret to know, any of these. Whereas a white hat hacker is typically the one which actually does this for ethical purpose, who has been authorized to do that. He or she identifies that what kind of problems can come up, and accordingly the particular person can actually deal with it. Okay, so this way white hat hacker is typically security analyst or a good guy, right? And gray hat hacker, he is typically a person who has all this knowledge and he can apply it both ways. If a vendor hires him to secure his product, he can do that. If a company hires him to attack another company, he can do that as well. So he has the knowledge, he can apply wherever, whichever way he likes. That is a gray hat. These are the typical three core categories of hackers that we talk about. And we all are supposed to fall right now that are in the session, are supposed to be falling in the white hat category, right? Here are white hats, isn't it? Yes? Very good. We are going to be white hats and we are going to protect. Yes, that does seem eluding, but we are going to be white hats. And we'll show the black hats that you cannot do anything. Gray. Oh, come on. Let's be white, right? And we can show off all the black and gray. Okay. Now, we are saying we will be white hat. Very nice. Yes. See, cool you can be by being white hat also. It's not about being which hat is cool. It's about that the way you let other people be gone. That is the idea. So if you can be a white hat, you can be a good guy and you can still be cool. Okay. Now let's see how we can do this. So again, as I said, there are a million ways to hack. But very commonly, we can categorize this full process into 5 key categories. Right. Yes. So we have these 5 key categories or 5 key phases, we can say. The first phase is planning and reconnaissance. So this is where now when I have a target I want to attack, we collect all possible sort of information regarding the target so that we can use that to plan an attack. Now, this information I can get from their website, I can get from search engines, I can get from Google database, I can get from emails, I can get from competitive intelligence sites, these are sites which keep data on different companies. I can get from job sites, I can get from social engineering methodologies, I can get from DNS details. Lots of ways are there. So we can try to get this information. Once we have got all this information, we will utilize it. But this is right now very basic set. Something that things like, what are the IP addresses that are present there? What kind of employees are present there? What are they talking about? What are their social profiles? This kind of information we have got. But to be able to actually attack, we need to actually go a little bit more detail. So there will be scanning phase. This is where I will actually try to send packets and try to identify which IP addresses are actually live in that company, which services are actually being used in the company, what problems or vulnerabilities or weaknesses are actually present there. This is what we do in scanning stage. Yes, Nmap is typically used in this stage for those who may have ever come across. That is a tool that can be used for this purpose. Right. So this particular stage is where we look into. Now, once we have come across this, we say that how do we get access to this? So we'll look into all of these details. We'll use this good information. Yes, Nmap is a very industry favorite tool which is used in this step. So we'll use all this to get all the database of information we need and very precisely, to a good precision, identify the attack plan. Then you will use that attack plan to get access. That is the third phase, that is gaining access phase, where we'll apply that plan, we will execute all those things, and then we will get access to the particular target. Often we may have to crack passwords here, we may have to come across authorization issues here, we may have to break into the device, we may have to increase our privileges and get access. Then we go to the next phase, maintaining access. Yes, Metasploit framework is often used for this purpose. Maintaining access is where I want to retain access for a longer period of time. I've got access, but I want to have that access there for a longer time, so that it should not happen. I got access and I'm stopped. Not a great idea. I will want that access for a longer period of time. Yes, backdoors could be used for that purpose. We could use rootkits for that purpose. There are techniques like steganography. There are techniques like alternate data streaming. So a lot of different techniques are there for this purpose as well. And then finally, analysis and back configuration. Now, this is put in this way because we are looking at from a security perspective. Generally, we talk about deleting all the tracks and evidences. That comes into picture. That is, I think, what Harshit is also asking. Yes, that is typically clearing tracks. But here, since we are looking from a security perspective, we'll do clearing tracks also. But we'll analyze all this information, look for all the security configuration. WAF is just an example. Look for all the security configuration, report all these details, and make sure we are able to deal with it. Clearing tracks means basically, Sanjana, that we are trying to delete any clues, any evidences which shows that the attacker was present. So, like suppose there is a log generated, so we'll delete that log, right? Suppose there was a file present, we'll delete that file, so that nobody can identify that who was it. That is called as clearing tracks or covering tracks. A WAF is a short form for web application firewall. That is just an example of any security mechanism they have taken. Yes, Sanjana, like any evidence of their presence, because obviously no attacker wants to get caught. We want to hide us our any evidences, right? So that we don't get caught. That is one. Okay. Yes, Wireshark is also a very popular tool, typically used for network attacks. Very well. Proxies could also be used for this purpose. Absolutely. Right. So these are typical phases of hacking. Now, who will perform these phases? Like I remember in the starting, one of you said how the cool guys in films do it, isn't it? Somebody said that. I told you I'll come back to that. Yes, to a certain extent, you can hide. It is again depends on competency and excess. Okay. Right. So now I said that somebody said that how it is in the films. So that is exactly what happened. So this is actually a survey that was done where people were asked that how do you think hackers look like? And like you all said, 71% people said like this. Yes, Mr. Harsh, that's why I said that to a certain extent. Movies are all fake. I don't know. I will not comment on that, but I'll surely say that see, 71% people think that these hackers look like this. And I think films has a good role to play in that, because in films you always see a black hood with a black shirt, with a black screen, with a black room, with some green colored coding typing that's done. In reality, it is not the case. In reality, hackers, as you can see, what hackers think they look like are this. That you and I, we are the people who look like, who are hackers. Yes, hackers are normal looking people. They are not like this. Not really. Right? So it may look cool, I believe so, but not really. It's not going to help you with hacking. Hacking is as normal. In fact, the more blend in you can, the better you can hack because you'll not be caught. Right. So this is actually the way we come across. Now this brings us to the factor that how really these hackers carry out these things. Isn't it very interesting how they can carry out such things? Yeah, right. So let's have a look at this short case study I put in here. Would you like to have a look? Yes, this is a small video. This is a real case that had happened, and this is a company called as Trend Micro, which has made a simulation of that. Beautiful video of a full attack. Now, I want all of you to look into it. I'm playing it and give me your feedback. That means what do you, when I say feedback, I want you to notice that what happened here, and I want to know at least some of the observations, whatever I can find. Okay, so let's see. Okay, 5 minutes. Everybody focus on the screen. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me just make sure you can hear the sound. First, I'm starting it. Let me know if you can hear it or not. Okay. Okay. Everybody pay attention. We'll discuss later on.
There is a battle raging, one that many don't even realize exists. A fight in which anyone can be the victim and anyone can be the aggressor. It can be motivated by politics, by ideals, or simply by financial gain. Just recently, a large company was targeted, and due to one of these attacks, ended up more than $60 million worse off. Targeted attacks are a reality. What you're about to see is based on the real story of one such attack.
Dude, don't even go there.
Go where?
Everyone knows hand shot first.
Hand shot second.
What are you talking about? You not seen the original 1977? First.
Second.
Hey, get over here. I got a job. So this is what we're gonna do. First of all, we need to research the target. Find out what you can about their finances and social interactions. Make a list of departments and staff and get them on the wall. I want to know what these people are like. What are their online habits? Do they talk about their employer online? Also get me their perimeter security and internet-facing systems. We really need to know what we're dealing with here.
The criminals have examined the target's defenses and know what they're up against. Now they're packing and encoding different malware samples to make sure they remain undetected by standard security software. Sean is using anonymizing software to connect to underground forums. These are used to offer attack toolkits, intelligence, or even just for criminals to offer each other advice.
So what do we have, Ralph?
Well, we have our tools set up. The ones that didn't get picked up by any of the security scanners we set up.
And for access, we set up a booby trap website that will install the tool on the computer as soon as the user gets there. The link was sent to all the email addresses that we found on the social profiles of the employees. Now we just gotta wait for them to take the bait.
Fortunately, the security software recognized the URL the criminals were using to host their exploit kit, and the email was automatically deleted.
That was 2 days ago. Has anyone taken the tool yet?
No.
Then we need something else.
Maybe the old-fashioned way. The old free flash drive trick.
Hi, I found this in front of the main entrance. Could you check it out, please?
Yeah, it's good you brought it here. Thanks.
What are the employees talking about now?
Well, a lot of people are talking about the company lowering pay.
And there you go.
We're in! We're in!
This is it. The criminals have broken through the defenses, combining a zero-day exploit with some social engineering to get the victim to open their malicious file. This computer is now under their control, and they can use this user account to begin exploring the network undetected. The hackers look for any information they can use to exploit the system and gain higher privileges to access further data. Here they find a login page to an HR database and attempt an SQL injection attack. It fails. They find an email from another user that seems to have access to important databases and target him. After dumping the local password cache, the attackers have domain admin credentials. They browse the network to find the machine belonging to the new target. They connect with the remote desktop to drop a backdoor for later use and access the local hard drives, searching them for sensitive data.
We picked up a minor breach on one of our workstations. We've isolated it and made a thorough scan. We found the bot and removed it. Everything's fine now.
Listen, we threw some backdoors on it. We have domain admin, which means we have access to the whole network.
We're so close, it's a done deal.
Now it's time for the payoff. Exfiltration. They return to the compromised machine and find their goal, credentials for a development database. A brute force attack against the server gets them root access and they're free to dump the entire source code for a critical project. All they have to do now is bring it home.
Just like that.
These types of cyber attack are becoming more frequent, costing companies hundreds of thousands of dollars. Traditional security simply can't keep up. Criminals can test their attacks to the point of invisibility and use legitimate compromised accounts to stay under the radar once inside a network. Effective security should operate on the assumption that breach will happen. Effective security should be your eyes and ears throughout the network, enabling you to detect and contain every aspect of a targeted intrusion. In one recent survey, more than 70% of respondents felt that their own organization's security activities were insufficient to cope with such an eventuality. Don't be a victim.
So, did you all notice? I actually tried to look at the chat, but it kept stopping when I tried to look at the chat. So, I did not. Let me see now. Yes, first that was using SQL map. It's true. Coordinates and rapid blend. Yeah, true. That is also true. Who was that? First, yes, that is true. And here Harshit says the video first consisted of phishing. Then they use pen drive. There are malwares and payloads which made them access the system after the pen drive was connected to the computer system. They are one of the most common ways to get into a system, and that they're using brute force, that is basically guessing password, using pre-made text files, and trying the basic password and see if they work. Okay, that is one reference, very well. Ashwin says they use rubber ducky, then use MSF, and yeah, they're in. Now just install a backdoor and the company is gone. Yes. Okay, Harshit adds the video first consisted of phishing and then use a pen drive. Yeah, the most common way is the same. Right. Then Abhirat says social networking hacking. Shrili says all about getting them clicking the link. Then Durgavati says, oh my God, so many out there, it's all gone down. Divyang says system hacking, even using security, 0-day hacking, firewall can prevent this or not. Okay, I'll talk about that. 0-day lag, blackbit.com is the site they have taken. Social engineering. Now I'm using Recover tool, we can recover all deleted files. That's true, Durgavati, you can recover deleted files for that. Then Hacker Rocks. See, we are going to be white hat. What did everybody agree to earlier? Isn't it? Sagar, I can have it checked if that is made available or not. Mr. Saroj can help us with that. Saroj sir will be able to provide that. I'll check with him and let you know. Okay. Thoroughly studying about the company and use multiple ways to breach data. Yes, Pramutesh, very well said. Then after social networking, yes, that is also used here. Then we have Akshit on social networking. Jason said, are you a dark web hacker? Dark web is not legally allowed. Let's just put it to that. Shili says, for them to be secure, they should always think they're not secure enough. Absolutely there. Mental ability is more important. Boris says, yes. Sharon says, studying reaction analysis. Website is used, yes. Anybody else want to add on any inputs on the video? It's all about ethical hacking and cybersecurity. Okay. Sanjina says, ma'am, what is the meaning of a backdoor? Okay, I'll discuss. So backdoor is typically an unauthorized entry point into the system. That is ideally not allowed, but hackers misuse that. So what can be done after being hacked? You have to perform something called as incident handling so that you can actually deal with it. Cool guy, fast typing skills. That's how they show here. It shows in 5 minutes, it takes months. Okay, it was internet or intranet in the company. Okay, I'll discuss the entire setup. I think there is some confusion regarding the setup. No worries, I'll discuss that. Result of lack of awareness to a certain extent. Yes, more we'll discuss in a few minutes. Get me worried how easily hacking was portrayed. Actually, Vaishnavi, that's something to be worried about because hacking can happen quite quickly and easily. Yusuf says brute force attack. Yes. Sohani says hacking by using pen drive. Yes, but we will see what happened with that. There is some discussion on that I'm going to do. Okay, Manoj, what application can you recommend which scans antivirus and provides good security? A lot of such are there, Manoj, out there. But please remember, nowadays it is anti-malware and antivirus, where it can take care of more than just virus. Okay, apart we can look at a lot of measures. Symantec is there, AVG is there, then Kaspersky is there, McAfee is there. There's so many out there. More or less, all could be similar. Harsh Gupta, hackertyper.com, can enjoy fake hacking skills. Yes, a lot of such options are available nowadays. Can you recommend which? Yes, I've already commented that. Very well, you're welcome. How do we know that we are hacked? These post indicators will tell you. We'll talk about that also. Virus be weaponized to defense system. You know, virus is a weapon. Virus is a weapon. Actually, a virus is trying to attack, not defend. Okay, antivirus will defend. Okay, easy to target the employee. Okay, employee has less power as compared to hackers. More than power, they have less knowledge actually. They don't realize that what is happening is wrong and they just go with that. Awareness is a big issue. Yes, I'm going to share my conclusion also. I'm just looking at if somebody wants to add something more. Please say the roadmap. Okay, we'll that any unrelated questions surely at the end of the session. I'll discuss them. Please ask me then. Scam and spam. So scam is when there is some kind of fraud. Spam is those unwanted mails you get on your email addresses. Okay. What do you do after device is being hacked? You try to identify what's the problem and deal with it, or maybe delete the infected files, put on an antivirus solution. Sometimes you may have to format it as well. Sumit, for recording, please you'll have to connect with Saroj sir. I think he'll be able to help you out. Okay. All right. So I think we have got most of the responses. Shall I share my input as well then? Can we get our files after being hacked? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Yes. Can we return data after we're being hacked? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Depends on the kind of hack. There are lots and lots of ways to hack. Okay. So everybody's saying yes. So let me try. Now, I'm not going to execute the video again, but I want to show you certain parts of it. So let me do that. Let's see here. Okay, so this is here now. Here you find this is the guy from Trend Micro, Rick Ferguson. This is basically the host here. He has introduced this guy. This is the criminal mastermind right now. Okay, so here you see that this particular guy is the criminal master, and this is not a part of that company. These people are outside the company. Somebody was asking for the intranet or internet. These are accessing from the external network, internet. Okay, so this is the criminal mastermind, and he has this team who typically was shown by those two people, and he has given them the job that they want to hack. They're supposed to hack this company. Now, when he started this, listen to these two lines carefully.
I got a job. So this is what we're gonna do. First of all, we need to research the target. Find out what you can about their finances and social interactions. Make a list of departments and staff and get them on the wall. I want to know what these people are like. What are their online habits?
You see what he's trying to do? He goes on for a few minutes or more. But what he's trying to do, he's trying to get all possible information regarding the target from all possible sources. This is typically what is reconnaissance he is doing here. I told you about in the phases also. This is reconnaissance they're trying to identify so that they can research on their target. They can use this information to plan their attack. This is the first phase. Okay. Then they went further. They tried to scan. How do I know that? See, this warning came up to the to the security analyst, which typically they have shown like a burger eating guy, just like that. It's not always like that. We are very normal, nice people. Right. So he's also a nice person. But yeah, he got this warning. You can see port scan detected. This is typically the second stage happening, scanning. That whatever information they would have got, they were trying to verify that and identify what things were there. But fortunately, there was a firewall present there, which is a defense mechanism, which was able to identify this problem. Yes, this is a white hat guy now. And he was able to identify this problem, and this warning came up. This is what we call as a precursor or a lead indicator. This shows that there is a possibility of some attack happening. Okay, so he was supposed to give enough attention to it and deal with it. He did to a certain extent, but could not investigate throughout. If he had investigated further, he might have found that something is going to happen. White hat guy is the guy who is doing all the hacking activities with a defensive purpose in mind. Okay, right. Then what happened? They kept trying. Now, what was happening? They were getting found. My patient, not so. They were getting found. So what they did, they used anonymizers. Anonymizers are software which tries to hide your own details. They did take, but they thought it was a support scan, so they did not take enough action. They did not investigate further. They stopped the thing that was happening at that time, but they were not able to predict that this could go in future much more. Okay, so now what they are trying to do, the attackers are trying to perform the scans without being found. So they are trying to use something called as anonymizers in this particular case. Here they have used a very popular one called as dark comment. Through that, they're trying to hide their activities, their particular code. And this particular screen that you're seeing is a shot from a very popular site called as virustotal.com. So what has virustotal.com? It has multiple antivirus engines which can help you identify if a particular file is infected or not. Since it has multiple antivirus engine, it can tell you from multiple formats. So if one of them is not able to identify, other will be able to identify. Not guarantee, but definitely enhanced to a good extent. That's great, Abhiraj. You use that every day, but you have to be careful. It is a public platform, so not very secret information to be put there. You can put link. Yes, I can surely send you links for sure. Just give me a second. Okay. See, this is how virustotal.com looks. Oh, somebody's already sent the link. Okay, so you can add on any file here and to check with all different engines and tell you whether it is infected or not. So this is very good. So anytime you have some public file or download, you need to check with, or even a URL, you can check for that. Okay, so this is typically a screenshot of that. So what the attackers are doing instead, they're trying to check after putting an anonymization that is it being found or not, and you can see it is not being found. Bhuvan, this is typically a particular site which can help you identify if a particular file or URL is infected or not. Okay, so this came into picture. Then they were able to use that to perform the job. They did a lot of attacks. They used the criminal toolkits from their sources. They did all of that. Then what they found, you see the screen? Yes. So we can see this is shown backtrack file. So a lot of you were asking me about Kali and Parrot earlier. So this is an earlier version of Kali called as Backtrack, which was used beforehand, which is an operating system made in Linux there, which has lot of inbuilt tools for hacking, and that's also used for testing purposes. Okay, so this is easier to use. You have all the tools into it, and it's very efficient, so you can use this. A Backtrack was good, but it did not have a lot of GUI as such. So nowadays we have this particular modified into Kali Linux. That is a very popular operating system today that we are using. Black Ark is also very good. It has actually much more tools into it, but somehow efficiency wise, Kali Linux is better. And you'll find Parrot also. Somebody was asking me. Parrot and Kali Linux are essentially very similar. Just that Parrot is considered a lot more lightweight. So if you want to put on, multiple operating system with one virtual machine software or so, Parrot is a little bit lightweight, so it makes it a little bit easier. Okay, otherwise all are good, right? So that is there, and you can see here they were using a tool called as Weebly. This tool that they are using here, there's a Weebly Python script actually that they are using. They don't need to go in that much detail, but yeah, typically they are using. There are a lot of different scripts we use in attack generally. Okay, so here they come across. They kept trying. They got some information, but not all. Again, they had put on a trap website for them, but this was also detected. So they some things happened, but some things were failing. Then they tried that USB thing that many of you identified. I told you I'll discuss that. So see, this is that employee who got the USB, but she was an aware employee. She did not misuse it. She went and gave it to the security analyst. This is a security analyst. And he also did not misuse it. If you notice, this sandbox, then the system in which he put on had the label sandbox. Sandbox means that that particular system is isolated from all other networks. So anything he's testing in here will not affect the company network, and thus the company is safe. So this attack was not successful. Okay, everybody understood that? A lot of people had this confusion, isn't it? USB attack was not successful in this case because that was also found and it was used in sandbox environment. Okay, then here we got this disgruntled employee who had mostly had a fight with somebody and he was not in the right state of mind. So what happened? He had just a fight, and obviously, you may be very aware, but when you have just a fight, you're not always in the right state of mind. And this was somewhere Friday evening, you see, Friday 4 5 p.m. So it was end of the week kind of. And yes, they find the final hack that happened was through a link that was a phishing mail basically. So they used that and they clicked, and the person clicked on it and he got access. So they utilize phishing, that is social engineering methods, plus a 0-day attack also into it. 0-day attack is any attack which takes advantage of a 0-day vulnerability. And 0-day vulnerability is any weakness in the system which is not yet known to the vendors, to the companies, and we don't have a solution for it yet. So they're taking advantage of that and thus attacking. Yes, Niyati, it can be through a link. Company security protocol has been bypassed. That's where they use anonymizers. That's where they try to make sure that it is being hidden, isn't it? Name 0-day because the particular solution has not been there. There has been 0 days when it is known to the vendor ID. That is why the name is called as 0-day. But definitely the hacker knows for a long period of time. Right. So that comes into picture. Then when this initial attack happened, then it was good, but still they did not get complete access what they were looking for. So they tried something called as privilege escalation. They try to increase their privilege, maintain access. Attack has happened, and they're trying to maintain access. So this is typically a tool called as Metasploit. In Backtrack, they are showing. In Karen, NX, and Parrot also you can use this. It is inbuilt there. This is an earlier a version of Metasploit. So they're using MSF payload. In the newer version, this particular command has changed to MSF Venom. Okay, so they're using all this Metasploit tool. It's a very popular tool for attack, and they were trying to get access. They tried SQL injection, it failed. Then they tried other ways to attack database, and it got access. And they were able to use, one of you identified also SQL map in this. Somewhere you see SQL map was being used. There is here. Yes, you'll find SQL map. Yeah, here he's using SQL map. Okay, and there when they tried, this is SQL map, and when they tried and got access, this is Metapredator, this is Metasploit, and then after this they use SQL maps in there. This is the string in there, and then they tried to attack. SQL injection is an attack where let's put it like this. So SQL is a language which is used to connect the web application with the database. Okay. Now, SQL injection is an attack where we try to use an input field in the application and input a part of code or a full code into it, which gets executed at the backend, and we can have some function running. That is called as SQL injection. It's a very common attack in web applications. Okay. And thus, we go ahead and they finally were able to get access. And here, the particular person, security personnel who thought he had scanned everything and everything was good, finally found that it was not so. And this is typically now final warning, what we call as an indicator of compromise or a post indicator that attack has happened. Now they will invoke what we call as an incident management process, where they'll find out what loss has happened, what issue has happened, how we can stop it further, and they will try to do that. Okay, I hope you're good with this. Okay, now we talk about top 15 cyber threats here. Right. So this actually picture is from ENISA. That is typically European, you will find reference for cybersecurity, which talks about this top 15. There are so many attacks out there, not possible to talk about all. So I put on top 15 here. So malware, we know, is one of the most common attack. Virus, worms, trojans, spyware, adware, ransomware, all are malware. Web-based attacks, very common. Other applications are very common to be attacked today. SQL injection is the best example of that. Phishing, I think we have all seen a lot of examples. So all those when I was saying, have you got such a mail? Have you got such a pop-up? Have you got such a call? These were all different ways of phishing only. Generally, we talk about mails and pages, but the others are also other forms of phishing only. Then web application attacks could happen. Again, SQL injection could fall in this category also. Spam, unwanted mails that you get is a spam. DDoSes, where different attack machines are trying to attack you. For now, we can just keep it like that and attack your system so that you are not able to utilize those services. That is DDoS. It consumes up the resource so that the genuine user cannot access. Identity theft, as what a lot of you were saying, we are trying to steal somebody's identity and misuse that. Data breach, where somebody is trying to steal the data. Insider threat, when a person from within the company is trying to attack, that is called as an insider threat. Then we have botnet. Botnet is typically a particular system set of network which is often used in DDoS. So bot is an automated software which once installed into a system gives you control over that system. Okay. The system is called as a zombie, and a network of these zombies is called as botnets. DDoS could be similar to deauthenticating, but deauthenticating in Wi-Fi networks, Ashwin, could be done just to steal the credentials when they again try to authenticate. Whereas DDoS is when you're not allowing them to access the network at all. Okay. Then physical manipulation, damage, theft, and loss can surely happen. That's one of the biggest issues. DDoS stands for distributed denial of service, not direct denial of service. Distributed because we are using botnet, the full network for that. Okay. Information leakage can happen. Then ransomware can happen, where we are trying to encrypt the attackers will encrypt your screens and files, and when you try to access them, you'll not be able to do so unless you pay them a ransom or if you have some security mechanism. Cyber espionages, when another company can send some kind of person to your company which appears to be working for your company, is actually stealing information for them. The cyber espionage. And cryptojacking is where we are taking advantage of encryption, encoding issues, weaknesses, and trying to attack that. This is where the Bitcoin stealing, etc., comes into picture. Okay, somebody said explain botnet. Somebody says explain identity theft again. Sure. Identity theft is when we are trying to steal somebody else's identity. Like suppose if you have a credit card and I go to your particular bank and say, hi, I am so and so. And let's suppose Swasti has a credit card, and I go to a bank and say, hi, I am Swasti, I want a credit card, and I have forgotten my account number and all the details. So they may ask my ID proof. Suppose I create a fake driving license and go to them. See, this is my ID proof. And then they ask me for my address proof. So I may have stolen her electricity bill and I show them that. And I get a credit card. So now I've got the credit card. I do shopping and she pays bills. That is typically identity theft. Right. I hope you're clear with that. Who was that? I guess so. Right. Botnet is an automated software which once installed into a system gives you access to that system. The system in which it gets installed is called as zombie. And if I create a network of these zombies, it is called as a botnet. Right. Now, often these botnets could be misused by attackers to create DOS attack, to send multiple requests to other resources so that we can use them up and genuine users cannot access that. So then that is called as DDoS, distributed denial of service attack. I hope you're clear with DDoS and botnet now. Blockchain is typically introduced to reduce crypto attacks, but yes, nothing is 100% secure, so there is a possibility. VLAN is virtual local area network, where we try to isolate the networks in a virtual way, not in the physical manner. Electricity is simply a medium of sending and receiving. Through that, multiple attacks can happen, but it is just a medium. Yes, fake traffic on server increasing could also be an example of DDoS. Absolutely. You can think of it like that. Cryptojacking, Doraiswamy, is simply basically a particular let's say, attack, which is trying to take advantage of weaknesses in algorithms. So I know we have not discussed cryptography a lot, but typically there are a lot of algorithms we use to hide our data, to encrypt data, in case you are aware of those terms. So when we are using that and we are trying to find the weaknesses there and trying to attack that, that is called as cryptojacking. Ransomware is typically a malicious attack only, where we suppose if there is a ransomware, so what will happen? One fine day when I open the system, it will be all black screen showing all your files are encrypted. And if you want to access the file, spend, let's say, $200 on this account. So that is typically ransomware. They're asking me for some ransom in exchange of my access to my information. Okay. And somebody also asked about cyber espionages. When one company sends a person to another company as if he's working for that company, but actually he steals information for the first company. Artificial intelligence can also be used for this. Any amount of money can be taken. What is encrypted? It will encrypt initially when the attack happens, and when you get the key, then you can decrypt it. Or nowadays we have security mechanism that if you have implemented beforehand, then you can do that. Otherwise, the only way is to format the system. Okay, and if you have no security mechanism at all. Right. So I think this sums up all the major things here. Right. Now, before we go ahead, any other questions still here? By providing stronger cryptographic mechanisms, Hassan, cryptojacking can be protected. Mr. Janam Jain, you can register complaint. There are online portals that you can put on. In Indian governments, different countries, governments also provide the same. You can register there also. Okay. And different websites also. Like if you have something called with Facebook, Facebook has a portal within which you can report. And you can do that. Right. That's good to know. Session is very useful. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll discuss all of this at the end. Let's go ahead first. Some more details. Sarot sir, are you there? One last time, I'm just checking. Sarot sir, Vivek sir, Anamika, anybody there? No. Okay, no problem. Let's discuss further. I'm sure we can have the questions later on. Akshat, farming is another way of fishing only. Sometimes what happens, you click on a link, it keeps redirecting you to different places. That automatic redirections are called as farming with a PH. Okay. Yes, hack the box is also a good way to practice. Okay, so let's go ahead for now. Now we have two terms here: vulnerability scanning and penetration testing. Right. So anybody has any idea what is penetration testing and what is vulnerability scanning? Harshit says vulnerability scanning is finding the weakness, checking the extent of attack. Vivek, which one is that? Penetration is working on it. Breaking through the firewall is penetration testing. Yes, you can say that. That is an example. Vulnerability scanning is done by Nmap to find open ports to certain extent. Okay. Finding problems in a particular device is software. Okay. Evaluate security, breaking through anything done by third parties. Could be, not always, but yes, could be. Monitor cyber attacks, check for exploitation. Okay, one of the scanner is automated, pen test is manual. Nowadays, it is also being automated. Penetration testing is like hacking your own device to check vulnerabilities. Yes, very nice. Ethical hacking, yes, very well. Access computer network gaps is to discover weakness of a given system. Scan for Nmap, ethical hacking, very well. So I think I've got good results. Okay, one more. Simulated cyber attack case to computer system to check, identify weakness in network, very well. Penetration testing is to check if you can find any vulnerabilities in the system. So how is it different there? Yes, I'm going to explain the terms, Ayush, no worries. So vulnerability scanning is when I'm using automated or manual methods to identify all vulnerability means weakness. So to identify all the weaknesses present in the system. Whereas penetration testing does that and goes one step further by trying to exploit them to identify the true severity of that vulnerability and report all of them. So the most important thing in both of the cases is reporting, but vulnerability scanning will not exploit. It will stop at just finding the problems, the weaknesses. Penetration testing will go one step ahead and exploit that also. Right. That is the major difference. The penetration testing could be also of three types. We had white box, gray box, and black box. Okay. White box, a gray box, black box looks very similar to white hat, gray hat, and black hat. But remember, that is not the same. Black hat guy will never do testing, so he will never do any of this. Okay. So black box testing is when you have no knowledge about the target and still you are doing testing, not black hat hacking, testing, white hat job. Okay, white box testing is when you have been given full knowledge regarding the target and then you're performing the full process. And gray box testing is when you have been given some knowledge regarding the target and then you're performing the process. So Sanjana, Script KD is basically a kind of hacker which has a limited knowledge. It may not be that skilled. He's like an unskilled or an amateur hacker. He is typically not qualified to do a proper penetration test, but even if he do, he can do any of it. Okay, he needs to be a bit more qualified to do. Right. So this all will come across. So white box, also called as crystal box or glass box, is full knowledge testing. Gray box is some knowledge or partial knowledge testing. Black box, also called as zero knowledge testing, is where we have no knowledge about the target. Now here we talk about some general details regarding what we have say. So we say we have an insider program that is present. We should have an insider threat program in the company to identify people. So nowadays we have a lot of mechanisms like UBAs, user behavior analytics mechanism, where we can look at the employees, what they are doing, how they are doing things, and we can identify that. We need to train our employees, very, very important, in letting people know what is wrong, what need to identify, what they need to be careful is very important. Otherwise, if people don't know, they will not take care. We have to be very, very careful with this. Then maintain compliance. Compliance means there are a lot of rules and regulations out there as per laws, as per industry standards, as per a lot of companies that do research onto it. If I follow those rules and regulations, this would be very useful because I will not have to put on money and time on research, and I'll be able to secure my company. So compliance is very popular and very important. You'll find internationally, ISO is a very famous organization for this purpose. NIST is very famous. Corbett ISACA is very famous. A lot of such companies are available which do this job for providing such mechanism to which we can comply. Then we should have an incident response plan. Incident is any event which has a negative impact, like what happened in that particular video. So now they will put on an incident response plan in action where they'll be able to deal with that entire issue. Definitely they have to be ready beforehand, but they should be able to identify what all data was lost, what was the value of that data, how they can stop it further, how they can stop the misuse, what complaints they need to file, everything will be done. Then keep your system and software updated. Very basic thing, but we may not do this all of time. Updates also include security solutions and updates, what we typically call as patches. So we need to keep our system updated, softwares updated. Then backup data. So when I have talked about ransomware, somebody was asking me what to stop. So I said that if you do not have predefined endpoint security solution, there's no way to stop. You have to basically reformat a system. In that case, having a backup data is absolutely essential because who knows how when the data become inaccessible. So we should have proper backup data. Then initiate phishing simulations. Phishing simulations can be done to tell people how these can happen. So a lot of companies do phishing campaigns so that they can let the employees know and see how they react to these particular mails. So we have to be careful with that. Secure site with HTTPS is just a roundabout way of saying that you should use encryption. You should use cryptographic mechanism. Use sites with that green lock present there. Use HTTPS. Otherwise, what will happen? We will not be able to have, or rather we can get, right? So that can be a case. Insider threat program is important because a lot of times can attack be apart from within the company also. So we don't want that, right? That is where we have to be careful. First point is because inside of the program, because a lot of time you'll find people from within the company could be attacked. So we have to make sure that doesn't happen, because a person from inside can have a lot more access than a person from outside. So we have to be very careful with that. Nilesh, SHA-256 is not an encryption algorithm. It's a hashing algorithm which is used to identify if there are any changes to the data. So typically for that, we don't use brute force. That is typically used for passwords and encryption keys. Brute force could be used for that. And for SHA-256, we have something called as rainbow table attacks that can be used. If anyone wants to attack from the inside, they will know what are the cautions to be taken, even when it's what would be the use. That is where we keep an eye on the employees. That's why you will see employees are also very thoroughly monitored. Their behavior, their changes, what they're accessing, restrictions, everything has to be monitored. That is why it is even more difficult to do that. SHA-256 is an algorithm used for hashing. Hashing is a mechanism used to identify if there are any unauthorized changes. MD5 Nilesh is also a hashing algorithm, but MD5 has found to be what it was susceptible to what we call as collision. So MD5 is no longer considered the best. It was best at a certain point of time, no longer now. Yes, a lot of videos you'll find on this. Okay, let's go further. Now here you can see the job market trends. I thought we can look at some industry details also. So you can see 3.5 million unfilled job in 2021 from 1 million in 2014. You can see so much. And unemployment rate has been 0% in 2019 and has been so till now. Okay, from the last 8 years, it has been so like that. You'll find the cybersecurity engineer has been the highest paying and highest recruited jobs among them. That is $140,000 per year, as per a report. This is a report from Cybersecurity Ventures reported by Forbes also in their one of their publications in India. And India alone will need 1 million cybersecurity professionals, and they do need by 2020 to meet the demands. So you can see how this job market trend is increasing and changing, and we need to work with that. Some popular examples, if I show you, see, these are some recent examples. See this guy from Kanpur. So he got 3.78 lakh rupees for tracking Google bugs. This is typically what I think some of you were asking. A bug bounty program was there, where people from all around the world are invited to find the issues, and if they report it, company gets benefits, so they provide you with also reward. Here you can see Facebook pays Indian ethical hacker rupees 23.8 lakh for finding bug. So these are very lot of such instances have happened in the past. These special Indian instances have taken these. But a lot of such instances have happened. If we talk about some of the coolest jobs you will find. Yes, recently Aditi got 22 lakhs from Microsoft. That's true, Abhiraj. So you can see some of the coolest job if we talk about. We talk about a digital forensics analyst or investigator, which you identify what has gone wrong, how it had happened. A lot of investigation goes into it. We see a lot of different evidences. Some evidences may be deleted, but no evidence can be 100% deleted. So we look for those hidden things and identify. We have penetration testers and system for systems and network. Then we can try to identify such problems and deal with it. Application pen testers could be there. Then SOC analysts, very common job, very important job also. We want to make sure the entire network is very well done. Cyber defender and engineers, very commonly known in the market. Then at certain advanced levels, you can go for hunter and incident responder, where you can identify what to do for such incident. It will come after some experience, because initially it will be difficult for you to judge. But after some experience, you can become that. You can be a security architect where you design the entire company security. You can be software development manager where you imbibe security into software development process. Malware analyst or reverse engineer. This could be really fun sometimes. You're trying to kind of go back from the final software to the coding and trying to identify and analyze the malware. Or you could also become a technical director or a CISO, where you could be like a C-suite executive for security and responsible for the entire company's security. These are some of the coolest job you'll find out there. Again, there are a lot many more. These are some major cool jobs. Right. So who knows? Any of these could be you in any coming years. Right. Sure, I can show the previous slide also. This one you're talking about mission. So initial packages can vary a lot, Porish. It can depend on a lot of factors. So I cannot say, but I will just say that it is quite good. That I can assure you. You will be happy with that. But you'll have to prove your work. That's true. And initially, also I would say it will be good. Plus, the revisions will also be quite good. That also you can see. For ethical hacking learning, I think a lot of you may know that the university that you are in is also starting, right? And there are a lot of places to go learn ethical hacking, like EC Council provides an ethical hacking course, and I think that is one of the best for sure. And there are a lot of online resources also you can go for. We can have a training from a proper training institute. That is, I think, the best way you can go for. Then cost wise, maybe we can talk to them. Maybe they can give you a student discount, or if a lot of people go together, or if your university can help you out to get that. If I'm correct, university is trying to get something similar. So CEHS, Certified Ethical Hacker, Irish. Right. So that is there. Is it carding possible and could they really do that? I'm sorry, Sushant. Can you rephrase the question? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Okay, everybody, please wait. I'm trying to go for the Q&A questions first, then I'll come back to chat for checking other questions. Okay, what is DDoS? I think I've discussed now. If we have ones, how to recover from that. So basically, it depends on the kind of attack. You identify what is the attack that has happened, and whatever is the data gone, you have to get that back, recover that back, and you have to delete whatever problem was there. Like if it was a virus, get an antivirus. If it was a firewall issue, fix that. Right, accordingly. Then here we have, let's see, we have what are the important course to learn hacking. So typically for hacking, you will see networking is a very important criteria. Okay, so the negative marks for exam, which exam? I'm talking about the other college. Sorry, that you'll have to talk to them. Quiz, that you can check with them. Okay, these are all different questions. Do hacker use VPN? Yes, they can use VPN also, but VPN can be used for security purposes also. Okay. Can you discuss about different EC Council courses? So EC Council have a lot of courses, CEH for ethical hacking, that typically talks about how to do ethical hacking, have a lot of, you know, technical labs also on that. Then it has for penetration testing, full on labs for that. It has incident handling, a course on that. How do you handle that? Forensic investigation, they have a course on that. For encryption specialists, they have course. For security specialists, they have course. For everything, almost you will find there is one course there. Lots of inputs. What are the degrees you have studied? Me, I have taken bachelor's and I have an MBA, and then a lot of certifications in security. So everybody got to know, I believe you have a 25-minute exam, I think, without any negative marking tomorrow after all the courses and everything is done, and you can go with that. Okay, 25 questions and 30 minutes. Okay, everybody's got it. Extract Wi-Fi password, you can use the same tool, Aircrack NG, or there are Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is actually very simple. Just start it and leave it, and it automatically gives you by the morning for most of the cases. Okay, and programming language, it's good to know. It's not compulsion, but it's good to know. Eventually, you will have to, but for initial, it can do. Initially, networking is the most important thing you should know before you start. Yeah, faking like a guitarist, etc., is also kind of social engineering. Roadmap to ethical hacker will be typically networking, good technical understanding, like servers, etc., and then simply start trying. Not illegally, legally. Okay. Linux systems are good to use, but it's not compulsory to use Linux or Windows. It depends on you. You are the hacker. You can decide. Linux is just used because they are but inbuilt versions. It is easy. Okay, the second name of the tool. So for that, Aircrack NG, the other tool was Wi-Fi. Aircraft, actually, Wi-Fi at the back end also use aircraft NG only. So everyone, please listen. Don't leave right now. There is going to be a poll. Once I finish this session, which I'm going to once I think almost all questions are done. Then you have this 2-question poll which you can answer, and then you can. I believe so, right? Not now. Once I finish this, then I think the back end team has come across. In which institute I did the graduation? I did it from IP University, Delhi. Thank you very much, everyone, for all those who have been very nicely putting kind words. Thank you very much. I'm happy that you all liked the session and you were able to enjoy it. Again, I think it's good to time to close the session. I think we've got all of them. What is coming up? And all the best to everyone. I'm sure you all do great.